You hear words like brining and you go, I can't do that. You know, it sounds like it's complicated. Little do people know it's salt and water. And what it does is kind of miraculous.
Wow, that is
Sometimes when I put together a class, I like to think about a technique that someone may never, ever have heard about. So I thought today I would do brined pork chops with asparagus and morels with my student Cheryl, who works in the record business. Have you ever done any brining?
I have never done brining. I've seen it.
You have?
I've seen it, but
Okay.
I've never actually done it before.
Well,
so.
that's good. What I love about brining is it's such a great technique because it really tenderizes meats.
So what exactly is brining?
I'm going to show you,
Okay.
okay? I take beautiful, big, thick pork chops like this, and I place those in a bowl, and then I add to this some salt and water. And I usually use just room temperature water is good for this. Now, you're going to add 4 tablespoons of that kosher salt. For each 1 cup of water, add 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. Let's put these in the refrigerator.
Do you need to cover it?
Absolutely not. You
No?
don't need to. It's only going to sit in there for 1 hour. Now we'll get the garnishes ready for this. Morel mushrooms and asparagus.
Okay. Are these the morels?
These are morels.
Okay.
I know, they
They're
look like
very
they're from outer
strange
space.
looking.
Look at this. They do. I mean, they're really, but they're delicious. They're a wild mushroom that is more mellow in flavor, but when they're dried, it gets a little touch more concentrated.
Where would you buy something like that? Like a specialty store?
No, you can
or-
find them in a lot of grocery stores. Not every single one, but you'll be able to find them. And then we're going to revive these. You're going to take a couple of ladles full of water and just pour that right over these dried mushrooms. We can just set those aside. And then the other thing that we'll do is just to clean these. But these morels, they look really great. But I just use a pastry brush. You can go and buy there are mushroom brushes that are available, but I find that
Do you
just a
wanna
pastry brush
wash
is
them
fine.
with water at all, or?
I don't, because I find that mushrooms are really like a sponge. They're going to absorb as much moisture as they come in contact with. And I think they're fine. I don't even see that they're that dirty. So I'll take a little pile if you want to do the same. I just cut them from top to bottom into 2 pieces. I want some nice big pieces of the nice fresh morel. So on the plate, you can really see those beautiful wild mushrooms.
I had never seen those before. I honestly hadn't. I've heard the word morels before, but I had never seen them. They looked very strange.
These are really odd ingredients, but you know, you become familiar with them, and then the next time you see them in a store, you're like, I know that, and you apply them to the next dish. I mean, you know, the nice thing about those morels is, you know, they'd be great with pasta, they'd be great on a pizza, and I can bet you she'll be using them again. Do you like asparagus?
I love asparagus. I saw that on the side. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna jump ahead to the asparagus.
No, asparagus is so delicious. What we'll do for this is you just pick it up and you snap it off where it snaps very easily, just like this. So I always hold one end and just snap. And that really shows you where that asparagus is starts to become tender. Take a knife and you're gonna cut this at about 1.5 inch. I'm taking off the ends, but then I cut this at about 1.5 inch pieces like this.
Like that?
That's perfect. There you go. Now what we're going to do next is we'll blanch these. So we're going to put those in boiling water. What will we need though in the water?
Salt?
Salt, exactly, for flavor. So we'll add a little bit of salt to that. So there you go. You can put a good pinch in there. You want a good amount of salt in there. It's really just flavoring the water. You want more than that.
Okay.
You want about 3 pinches of those. Now what we can do next is just to drop the asparagus, and really we're just cooking this until it's still bright green. You want it cooked through, but you don't want to cook it so much that it's gray. So we'll really watch that and make sure that it doesn't get overcooked. All right, next what we'll do is take these pork chops out of the brine and pat them dry.
Okay, so why do we have to dry them off?
Because otherwise they're not going to brown in the pan. So whenever you cook some meat, you want to make sure it's dry. And so I really pat those and remove that excess moisture. See the color now?
Yeah, I mean,
Beautiful.
It's faded, but it's still pretty bright.
Exactly. And you can feel they're slightly
Yeah,
tender. That's
slightly.
what you're looking for. So we can remove these.
So you don't want to cook it all the way through because that way it leaves it time to cook later?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're ready now to cook the pork chops. And when I feel the edge of the pan is warm, feel that.
Yeah, that's warm.
So we're ready to add a little bit of oil to the pan. And when I see that that oil is rippling, then I'm ready to add the pork chops. Okay, let's see how this is. You want to hear that nice sizzle.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you add yours
I'll
to the
do this
pan. Excellent. Now, we're going to cook those on the first side till they're a light golden brown, and then we're going to turn those over. Okay, now in the meantime, what we can do is we could strain these mushrooms. So just pour it right through. Yes. And then we can take those mushrooms out. You can just place this right on the top.
Okay.
And now we have these mushrooms, and we can take these out. They're not hot anymore because that liquid has cooled. And what we can do is just coarsely chop those. Don't throw this liquid away. That's important.
We're going to use that later.
We are.
Okay.
We're going to put it in the sauce along with some nice chicken stock.
So do I slice them similar to these mushrooms?
I would do them a little bit smaller because we really want the flavor of those mushrooms to really be mixed throughout the sauce. So you can do it a little bit smaller. And don't be afraid. You can really bear down when you chop. Good. That's great. Okay, and we add those to the fresh.
Okay.
All right? Okay, now we know that these are cooked on one side when they don't stick anymore to the bottom. See, this is perfect. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, that looks great.
What you have is, this is the caramelization. So the meat is really caramelized on one side. Oh, these are beautiful. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, what did I say? We sear and then
we season them.
Season, exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Little pinch of salt. You don't need too much. But remember, brining doesn't add too much salt anyway, so it's okay.
So we didn't salt these beforehand because we had brined them.
Yes. And also, we don't want to salt too much because remember what I said, it draws out the moisture.
I tend to do things too long. I really liked her checking on things and, teaching me to watch it visually instead of relying on time guides, because I do have a tendency to go, it says 15 minutes, I'm gonna sit here till 15 minutes is done, and smoke is coming out, and I just feel like I have a more intuitive sense of what might work.
See how golden these are?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look pretty good. Let's just take this out and see all those good bits on the bottom of the pan? We want that. Okay, so place this right in the middle. Let's see. Ooh, this is great. 149. So that will rise up to 150, 155 as it rests, which is perfect. Okay, let's take these out. So what you can do now is just to take a piece of foil and very loosely you want to cover. So I just set those aside. So I don't want them to steam. Now, the next thing is the mushrooms. So we've got all those mushrooms. We're going to add those right to the pan. And then we'll turn that down a little. Here you go. But those mushrooms will cook very, very quickly.
They smell really good.
I know, don't they?
Yeah.
You want to have a little bit of texture with the morels. It really works. Okay, so you can take those out, add those right on top of the pork. Nope, that's great.
Oh, looks good.
Okay, now once again, we'll cover this, and heat will stay right there, and we'll set that aside. Okay, I've got a little bit of chicken stock that I've reduced by half. So a nice homemade chicken stock, but if you want to use canned, you can add that.
And what does reducing it do?
It concentrates the flavor along with that mushroom soaking liquid. And you know, one other thing I thought would be really good in this is some fresh thyme.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I was just looking over and I have a little plant of fresh thyme, so I thought this would be really nice. So hey, why not?
How convenient.
I know. So we can just take some of the tops right off the thyme, and you can just mince that. Now, not a lot of thyme, just a little bit. Yes, but now you can turn your knife and keep it parallel to your work surface again. And I think sometimes it's better if you hold your hand like this rather than pinch it with your fingertips. You'll find, yes. See how much easier it is?
Yeah, okay.
Now you can see how this liquid is boiling. And so as it boils, that's how it reduces and concentrates the flavor.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing that it does, which is very important, is those bits that got cooked onto the bottom of the pan, those start to melt and they combine together with the flavor of the chicken stock, and they really add flavor to the sauce. So you can put that in. So Cheryl, this is what I do. See how I just scrape up the bits that are on the bottom of the pan? And that releases those, and they melt in with that stock and really create the flavors of the sauce. And see how this is starting to thicken just slightly? That's what you want.
And do you usually just do it by sight? It's not a timed thing?
No, it's not. It's really hard because sometimes your pan's a little bit wider, sometimes it's more narrow. So it really depends upon what you're cooking with and how much stock you have and how high your heat is. So there's so many variables in cooking.
Well, it's handy to learn how to judge it by sight.
Right.
Because if
Absolutely.
you do it by minute, then...
Exactly. I'm going to turn that off, but I want to strain it because there are those little bits that didn't melt. So I am going to just strain that. And then, if there's a couple in the pan, that's fine. We'll just put that back in the pan. And then what I like to do now is to place
The asparagus.
your
My favorite.
favorite. The heat, turn it back on, and we'll also take these pork chops and the morels, and just in a minute, everything's gonna be warm. Okay, and then we have these last few mushrooms and a little bit of the juices from the mushrooms and the
Looks
pork.
fantastic.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I saved this platter, and we can, I think probably the asparagus and the mushrooms, and everything's hot already. Put it on the platter, and now we'll turn this off. And what you can do is just to take this whole mixture and pour it right over those chops. Oh yeah, that sauce, the consistency is wonderful. Yeah, you can use your spoon a little bit. Great. Wow, this
That looks
smells wonderful. Go ahead, start.
Trying to be polite, like, hurry up.
All right. Oh, they're cooked so perfectly. How is it?
These mushrooms are good.
Aren't they good?
Yeah. And with the asparagus, it tastes real. Not that,
so
you know,
good.
I don't think everything in the world tastes good with asparagus, but this tastes really good.
Oh, this is such a nice dish, isn't it? The flavors
Fantastic.
marry so well. I know what would even enhance this dish even more. A little glass of Rioja would be perfect.
That sounds fabulous.
Oh, that's so good. With the wild mushrooms, it's just perfect. And you know, the wine enhances the food so much.
I'm sold on these mushrooms. What are they?
I know, morels. These are these pucker up citrus crisps. So that means they have a lot of lemon in them. We're gonna start by putting some lemon in that saucepan. So let's turn this on. Okay, let's turn that down a little. And a little bit of lemon juice, and then also a 1/4 cup of sugar. So you wanna make sure that's pretty level. Can you get that? Good.
Like that?
Yes. So next what we'll do is we'll bring this up to a boil and we're gonna cook that until it reduces just slightly. Okay, add the butter.
Okay. So how much butter is that?
4 tablespoons. And I usually use unsalted butter. And unsalted butter just because I can control the amount of salt that's going into it if I'm adding a pinch or something. Okay, this is finished. The butter is melted. You can pour that right into this bowl.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So you can add the sugar. You can add, these are just ground almonds. Baking soda. And we have a couple of tablespoons of cream, heavy cream. Now we're adding some lemon zest. Just want the really nice flavored part. You can add the flour. And then finally, the last thing is a little bit of a lemon oil.
Oh,
This is delicious. I'm only adding 1/2 teaspoon, so not too much. That's good. It takes, honestly, it takes about 330 lemons to make lemon oil, and it's made from the peel, and it really has fabulous flavor. Really mix it.
They smell really good.
I know,
good
don't
raw.
they?
Yeah.
You probably are dying to just taste that, aren't you?
No. Are we done?
You can try it. You want to?
I do want to try
Some
it.
people love to taste. Try it. Try it. You can taste a little. That would be fine.
Oh, it's really good.
Is it good? That's great. Good. Excellent.
Do we need to cook it?
Well, it'll taste even better. And we'll just let that rest in the refrigerator. You can always find lemons, and you're always looking for something that's refreshing. And it's definitely got the wow factor. And the wow factor, people love the wow factor for dessert, but I like to do the wow factor without spending 5 hours in the kitchen, you know, creating the wow. So it's kind of a cool dessert.
Okay, so how long do you leave it in the refrigerator?
An hour is the minimum, but you could even make it a couple days ahead of time and then roll them out when you're ready.
Okay.
Now, I love this. This is a pastry scraper, so the best thing is just to take a piece. You don't want to roll all of it at once, but you can take a little bit of flour and put it out on your work surface. Now, I'm going to let you do this. And first of all, what I do is I just press this a little bit to make it easier. That's probably good. And then a little bit of flour on the rolling pin, and now you can go ahead and roll.
Am I rolling it to a certain...
Probably about 1/8 inch thick. So you want to get that in a really good shape because we're going to be cutting this into diamonds. Next, what you do is you're going to cut this into 1.5 inch strips.
Okay.
So, first one, you're going to cut off the edge on that first one. And you can re-roll these scraps so you don't have to throw them away. And I know you will never. You'll be
I will
eating
not
them.
be throwing them away.
Now, 1.5 inch is about there. And let's see, we'll do another one. So these we can save. So I'm gonna do the first one and then you can do the next one,
Okay.
just because I'm having too much fun. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're gonna cut this way. On the diagonal, you're gonna cut across. And so you end up with diamonds.
That.
There you go. So this we're gonna have to re-roll. So next time we'll do a bigger piece. You can do a bigger piece. You want a little bit of space in between each one. These go in a 350-degree oven for 8 to 10 minutes until they're
quick.
golden. During the cooking time, they're gonna crack and puff up a little bit, but they'll fall again. So right in the middle of your oven. This is a fabulous drink that comes from Italy, and it's the most deceptive milkshake you'll ever have in your life. It's called Scropino. It comes from Verona, the Veneto area of Italy, and it's really incredible. It's so delicious. Okay, here's
Well,
what we do.
I see ice cream, so that's a good start.
So it can't be bad. Okay, I'm gonna show you, but it's easy. It's so deceptively easy. Okay, I've got some vanilla ice cream. I want you to see how fast this is to make. And then I also have some lemon sorbet. And of course, we all know how you feel about lemon.
I love the lemon.
Then we're gonna add, not enough lemon, we're gonna add some lemon juice to the other ingredients. Sparkling wine or champagne, traditionally it's made with Prosecco. And the reason I call this a deceptive milkshake is because it's got a good amount of vodka. And honestly, this is made in Italy. I wish I could say to you that I made it up, but I got this recipe from one of my favorite restaurants there. And this is not something that you serve your children. This is the adult milkshake. And then top on. Okay. Yep, that's it. Look, we've got to have a little taste before it gets in the glasses, just to see how it is.
Wow, that is deceptive.
Is that delicious?
It's really good.
Very easy to drink that. It's so fantastic.
It tastes like a lemon vanilla-y milkshake.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
That's really, really good.
Okay, let's go. We're ready. So dessert time. You can see it's got the most beautiful texture. It's just creamy and smooth and lemony and all those great things.
Well, it tastes really light.
I know, doesn't it? I said it's deceptive. I think I'm going for the milkshake.
I think I'm going for the cookie.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let's see. That's so fabulous.
Wow, those are really crispy.
Oh, good. How are they, lemony?
They're really good.
I'll tell you, this is my kind of dessert. Really delicious. And boy, was that hard?
No.
Dessert's so easy. Both
Super easy
things.
and really, really good.
I started at the beginning talking about brining and doing a little twist and learning something that you'd never think about and finishing with something like Scropino or the Italian milkshake. And boy, we turned out some really, really great dishes. It was fun cooking with you. Thank you.
It was really fun learning all this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.